It's time for Tiger Talk on the Tiger Sports Network. Tiger Talk, live from Tiger Club inside the Robins Center on the Fort Hays State Campus, is brought to you by these premier Tiger sponsors. Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis, banking one story at a time. The Hayes Med Orthopedic Institute, expertise, technology, compassion, all right here. Adams Brown, strategic allies and CPAs, going above and beyond for you. BTI, your John Deere dealer with locations in Buckland, Great Bend, Greensburg, Hoxie, Ness City, and Pratt. BTI, our family in partnership with your family. The Taco Shop, dine in, carry out, or delivery. Since 1970, you've never had it so good. And Eagle, our community connected. Tiger Talk with the voice of the Tigers, Gerard Wellbrock.
And, good afternoon and welcome to Tiger Talk. We're live at the Robins Center on the Fort Hays State University campus, part of Tiger Club. Certainly glad to have you with us here on this Wednesday. We're going to talk some wrestling, some men's and women's basketball. Busy time for Fort Hays State as we near a little break for Christmas, but all those teams still hot and heavy going into it here with some conference action. The wrestling team headed to the Midwest Classic. We'll get a preview of that and more with Eric Wentz here in just a little bit. We'll remind you can be a part of the program. Email us your question. Go to the FHSU Athletics website at FHSUathletics.com. Click on the Fans tab. You'll get a drop-down menu there at the bottom. You'll see Ask the Coach. Submit your question. If we use it, chance to win yourself a T-shirt from the Fort Hays State University Athletic Department. And, of course, we'd invite you to join us in person by joining Tiger Club. It's simple. It's $100 to join. Your fee goes towards scholarships for Fort Hays State Athletics, and then you can join us here Wednesdays at Tiger Club. Watch the show, some great camaraderie, great food as well, and buy your meal and be a part of the fun here with Tiger Club and Tiger Talk here on the Tiger Sports Network. Fort Hays State basketball at home this past weekend. The women played Monday a makeup with Tabor. We'll talk about that with Talia Cars. Men play tonight against Bethel College. That'll be their final non-conference game at 7 tonight. We'll have a preview with Mark Johnson, talk about their good week. And wrestling, they are headed later this week to Indianapolis, the Midwest Classic. Head coach Eric Wentz joins us now, and a big event. I know you guys have been going to this for a couple of years, and I know last week you had the recap of the Bob Smith Open, but this is a kind of a nice way for some of your guys to end that first semester at a big event up in Indianapolis.
Yeah, this is an awesome event. It's the 44th annual Midwest Classic. I actually wrestled in it my freshman year of college.
So it's been there a long time.
It's been there a while. But, it's an awesome event. It's our mid-season peak. So we're looking for some big performances from our 10 starters that we're taking up there. It's not like a normal open where you get to take everybody. You only get to take your 10 starters and see what they can do against some of the top guys in the country.
Is this by invite? How does it work to participate in this?
Yeah, you get an invite, and it's essentially, I believe it's a 64-man bracket. There's quite a few teams looking at it, but most of the top 25 teams are going to be in attendance. So we'll get our hands on some, number one guys in the country, number fives, and hopefully have a good chance to pick up some wins.
Well, obviously this is big just for the competition, but you never know. You come to the end of the year, start looking at regionals and seedings and all of this, how some of this stuff could come into play.
Yeah, this is a big one for regional matchups because we'll see a lot of schools from our region. Mines will be there. A lot of schools from the West, but then you see some matchups from the teams of the East that you don't normally get to see. The Pennsylvania schools, the East Coast schools, a lot of the North Carolina, South Carolina teams are going to be there. They've all got guys ranked in the top 25 at this point, so it's a good way to get our hands on some of those guys before the national tournament, should we qualify for the national tournament.
In other sports, you see it in football, maybe basketball, where different regions of the country, they play a little bit differently. Is it that way in wrestling, or is wrestling kind of just wrestling?
Yeah, there's definitely styles based on your region of the country. Where we're at right now, the Midwest, it's a hard, almost almost fist fight like, sometimes, it's a very physical style of wrestling here in the Midwest. Being an East Coaster myself, I always try to compare it to the North Carolina schools, and those schools they're not as physical, but they're a little bit more crafty. They do a lot more rolling around. It's very similar to like the Western style. The Western styles are a lot like that as well, where they do a lot more called funk wrestling, where you're rolling around on your back trying to score points off your opponent's shot, where, like I said, the Midwest, we're more hands-on, physical, try to make you make a mistake and capitalize on it.
Which way is harder to adjust to, or is it safe for both? Try to adjust to different styles?
Yeah, it's tough. It's really tough for high school kids to make the transition to the Midwest style of very physical wrestling, because if you're a pretty good high school wrestler, you don't have to be real physical sometimes. You can get away with wrestling kind of light and kind of doing what you want with guys. But, when you come in and you're wrestling a 23-year-old man as an 18-year-old kid, and they put their hands on you, it's a different story.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's different. And then, if you're not used to rolling around, then it's tough to adjust, and you got to work on ways to prevent scrambling and things like that when you wrestle those East Coast guys.
Which I guess that's what makes this event so unique and good. You get a taste of that, and as you said, hopefully as the season goes, you're going to go at San Francisco State after the first of the year and face some of those different places that this just all helps in developing the total complete wrestler. So if they're fortunate, you can get to the Nationals. You're ready for about everything.
Yeah, and you'll have those head-to-head matchups when you get to the national tournament. That if you've got to win over a guy who was seedable, then you could be fighting for a seed as well, which going into the national tournament seeded is a big part of it. That's why we work real hard about this midseason peak here. So when we go into this Midwest Classic, we got to be on our A game. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a long 2 days, with some of the best guys in the country. And if we can pick somebody off at this event, and we don't see them the rest of the year, we might have a one-up on the seeding criteria as we get into the postseason.
Talk about your group a little bit that you're taking, and then maybe some of the expectations. I know you have a few. You're probably hoping to go pretty deep in this thing. Yeah,
and we're wrestling really well right now. I think, like I said, it's been a really tough first semester. But, DeAndre Brown's looking really good. He's at 125. He's really starting to come into his own. He's transferred in this year after taking a year off before when he was at Newman, and then so he's looking really good right now. 133, Kevin Honus will be our guy. He's wrestling pretty well. He picked up a couple good wins this past week at the Bob Smith. 141, Drew Bell is really starting to make some moves. He knocked off an Oklahoma State guy this past week at the Bob Smith, and his one loss that day was to a 4-time undefeated Oklahoma kid who's now in the lineup at Oklahoma State.
Wow.
So, so that was his one loss at Bob Smith, and he's really tough on top, and he's good at getting bonus points, so that's what we're looking for from him this weekend. Marcel Deli, our Hungarian hammer, he's going to be at 149, so he's sitting right around 500 right now because he's just getting used to the American style of wrestling, but he's looking really good in workouts right now. So if he's on and can kind of minimize the rolling around, because you don't do that in freestyle because you give up points, so he's got to get used to that. 157, we'll have Hunter Harrison this week. He had a really good weekend at the Bob Smith, picked up a couple solid wins, and had a really good match with a regional placer from last year. So he's wrestling really well right now. 165, Cody Hicks. He was out for the Bob Smith, caught the flu not long before that, so he actually ended up getting some IV fluids because it was so bad. But he's really wrestling well. He's got a winning record and has got some really good wins this year. 174, Juan Urbina will be our guy. He's finishing up his career here after coming in from Pratt, and he had a really good weekend at Bob Smith, and he's starting to really come around. And then 184, we had to have a wrestle off this past week, and it was good. Matt Rodriguez came out on top, redshirt freshman, knocked off Bryce Westmoreland, a 50-year senior, 2 out of 3. We did a 2 out of 3 with him. Lost the first match to Bryce, and then picked up 2 really hard-fought, close wins. But Matt's really come a long way. He was pretty green when he got here last year, and that redshirt year where he got almost 30 matches really helped. So, he had a big win over an Oklahoma State kid at the Bob Smith, and put himself in the semis, and ended up winning one more after that. But he's looking really good. Obviously, Terrius Henry at 197. Been a little bit of an up and down year for him, but he's getting up there in age. He's working on. I think he's in his maybe his 6th year right now, but
wow.
he's just outstanding. So and he's had a really good week. We really toned down his training a little bit, try to keep his body feeling pretty good, because he's, like I said, when you get up there in your 5th or 6th year of college wrestling, your body starts shutting down. So
you got to grind.
So that's a big one for him. It's just going in mentally in the right place. Not worrying about the past losses or anything like that. Just going in, because he made the finals here last year. Lost in a barn burner that took 30 minutes.
Wow.
Because of challenges and some really close calls against the guy who ended up winning a national title. So, if we can get a good showing out of him, I think he can win it. He definitely is a top 4 guy in that weight class, but it's going to be tough, because everybody's wrestling really well right now. And then Tony Caldwell, heavyweight, he's had a good season so far. So if we've been working on some little bit more dynamic wrestling from him. He's very kind of one-dimensional, and people are starting to figure it out. So he'll be working on a couple different things for him to kind of branch out his wrestling style a little bit, try to score some more points.
And that should be a lot of fun. That's coming up this weekend in Midwest Classic in Indianapolis. Longer trip. I say that you're going to San Francisco, so it's not. But travel and all of that, and then with wrestling, obviously you got to watch your weight. That always makes things, I'm sure, on trips like this a little more challenging. Just going up to Kearney and wrestling in a duel.
Yeah. So we're going to drive the whole way on Friday, get a workout in when we get there, and we rented a place. There's only 10 of us plus our support staff and coaches and stuff, and hotel rooms were crazy expensive, but we found a place that's got a workout room in it. So guys, if we get there, we're going to get a workout in at Indianapolis Friday night when we get there. And then if they got to do a little bit more cutting after that, there's a fitness room in this house we rented, and so we'll be able to get a workout in back at the house if need be. But hopefully they're doing a good job of managing their weight. It's really tough right now because of finals, because they're probably staying up a little later than normal, working on papers and studying, and so they're trying not to put anything too bad in their body after about 8 or 9 p.m. So, but we'll be good. And then it's a 2-day weigh-in, which makes it tough as usual. But as long as they do a good job of managing their weight over the next few days, we'll get the work in that we need to get done. So,
just going to ask you, with finals week, obviously it's a balancing act, getting ready for this, but also getting all the schoolwork done and getting those tests and getting the semester done. How do you handle it as a wrestling coach?
We open the doors around 8 o'clock in the morning to the practice room, and it's if you can come in as you can with a partner, get around your study schedule, work it out. The coaches will be in there normal time, but it's nothing structured, nothing mandatory. We're just in there, ask us questions. It's a really light week because, come in and get your hour in, get a good sweat, fine-tune some things, get out, get back to studying, get back to writing your papers, and keep your weight under control.
Health-wise, how you guys doing? Because he said it's been a heavy schedule and some great competition. How you guys doing in that regard?
Yeah, we got some guys that have been a little banged up. Little things, knee injuries, sprained MCLs, and probably the worst ones. Cade Lindsey's been out all year, and he's actually, we're working through some stuff. We're hoping maybe he can be back second semester, but we're not holding our breath at this point. And having an All-American out of the lineup has been tough, but Juan's done a good job filling in for him. But we've got our typical bumps and bruises from 6 months of straight training and wrestling, but overall I think we're looking pretty good right now.
Guessing you're probably no different than about any other team in the country at this point.
Yep.
And then after this, you have the Christmas break. You'll come back, and then, as we said, you kind of start that dual season for the second semester. You'll have the conference matches. You'll go to out at San Francisco State, 3 straight weekends on the road. Mm-hmm. How is it different, like competing in an event like this and a lot of the tournaments you go to kind of now shifting gears into a more of a dual structure for a good chunk of the rest of the year?
You do a little more game planning. And you walk into an invite or an open tournament, you don't really know who you're going to have right out of the gate. So we do a little more game planning. The way you train is a little different. Because you're only going to be going out there for 7 to 10 minutes. So we focus on how we're going to condition leading up to that, how we're going to rest leading up to that, and then obviously the travel. If we're staying relatively close, we can just head down early in the day, get a workout in, we get there to get the weight off, and then we wrestle for an hour and a half and head home. But obviously when we go to San Francisco State, that's quite the haul.
A little different.
So we're flying out, flying to San Francisco to wrestle them, and Colorado School of Mines, which we normally do in Colorado, but San Francisco State, they have to travel everywhere, so we're throwing them a bone and going out there to them, and but that's a little different just because of the travel and flying, and so we just try to focus on the match we got coming up and focus on weight management and rest and recovery and making sure we're as healthy as possible going into this dual season.
All right, sounds good. We'll talk more about that as we get closer in the second semester. But the Midwest Classic this weekend, where are they holding that at?
University of Indianapolis.
UIndy, okay,
Yep.
very good.
Yep.
All right, well, should be a lot of fun. Hopefully, as you said, you have some guys do well and go deep into that thing, and who knows, maybe plays benefits down late in the year for regional seedings and all of that. But appreciate the visit and safe travels, and best of luck. Go get them this weekend.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
There you go. That's Eric Wentz. He is the head wrestling coach at Fort Hays State University. Again, the Midwest Classic, it begins Saturday, goes through Sunday. If you go to the Fort Hays State Athletics website, there's a link there to watch it and keep track of all the Tigers and watch them throughout that tournament. Tiger Talk brought to you in part, well, actually, the Kansas Department of Transportation and the Fort Hays State University and the Drive to Zero Coalition invite you to join Tiger fans with a plan. If you're going to be drinking, always designate a sober driver. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk some women's basketball. Talia Cars joins us next here on Tiger Talk along the Tiger Sports Network, built by PwC. Sidney, driven the right hand, does it the Ruddle, right corner three, swish! Tigers started 0 for 7 from 3, and they've hit 2 in a row. Ruddle has 5 all this quarter, and Fort Hays State is up 10. They're on a 15-2 run here to open up the second half. Yeah, some of the action from last Thursday, big third quarter. Fort Hays State knocking off Northwest Missouri State. Welcome back into Tiger Talk. We're live at the Robbins Center on the Fort Hays State campus, talking some women's basketball now. Head coach Talia Cars joining us, and yeah, that was a big third quarter. It seems like your team, that was on Thursday against Northwest Missouri State, minus a few games here and there. It seems like your team has that one defining quarter. Sometimes it's been early. A lot of times it's been in the second half where you kind of take control of the game. And against the Bearcats, it was that third quarter, and you kind of able to maintain it the rest of the that ball game.
Yeah, nope. We did a good job of guarding their guards from the three-point line, especially. Just they were all really good shooters, and we did a good job of containing them on the three-point line. And then offensively, we executed super well in the second half on Thursday. I would call play, and there was no doubt in my mind they were going to execute it. And a lot of times we got a really good shot, and we were making the shots, and so that's where we were able to pull away.
You know, that's kind of with this team. When the offense is going, you guys look really good. There's times maybe it's not been as good, but it seems like defensively, by and large, there's always moments in there, but this group has really kind of figured it out. You go back the fourth quarter against Northeastern, and since then I think you played good defense, and you mentioned it. Lindsey Kilderman for them, shooting like 40-some% from three, their leading scorer. She 0 for 5, never scored in the ball game. I mean, it's like they took the challenge and took their two best scorers and just basically eliminated them on that game.
Yeah, no, we did a good job of honing in on her, and then Molly's always a really good scorer and somebody they're always trying to get a ball in the basket for, and we did a good job on her too, and making sure that she was always contained and we were always aware of where she was at on the floor, and they just played really good team defense.
Yeah, and you know, Northwest is a good team. We saw what they did. They go up and beat Kearney 2 nights later, and you've had some close ones with them. I mean, last year, you had a really battle to defeat them. They're an up-and-coming team, and kind of like you were a few years ago. You have this core of players that keep getting older and more mature and more experienced, and you're seeing them play well. That was a big-time win.
Yeah, I think Northwest is kind of like us, that we look at their roster and we're like, man, they've been there forever. Yeah. And that's kind of where they're at too. They have a lot of kids back, and most of their team returned from last year, and they're starting to figure it out and playing really good team ball.
Good games from Katie and Olivia. Both were in double figures, 14-7 for Katie, 11-5 for Olivia. And she's always been a pretty good scorer. It seems like her rebounding has gotten better this season.
Yeah, I think she's just gotten a lot stronger too, and specifically in her core, and she's able to be more aggressive on the boards and be more physical on the boards and go get a rebound. And
she's also a player that seems like understands maybe the different situations. I mean, I can't remember which game now. It was she caught it, it was like a triple team.
Yeah.
And so instead of forcing it, she's, getting 2-3 assists a ball game. Maybe years past she still tries to shoot that and just unravels. She's finding open players, kind of understanding just the game a lot better.
Yeah, she's getting a good feel of what they're trying to do defensively. If they're trying to really hone in on her and be aware of where she's at every time she catches, she knows if somebody else is coming, and she's able to distribute the ball and get somebody else a shot.
That was a nice win, and then you came right back on Saturday, Missouri Western. And I think when we talked to you after the game, I'm fine if you schedule all road games in St. Joe against those guys. For whatever reason, they play really well in Hayes. It's 3 in a row now. We know what happened 2 years ago in the regional, the overtime win last year, and then the game on Saturday. And you watch video of them, and they've got a good team. They got a lot of players back, but it had to be one of their best games of the year. I mean, they played really, really well, and for whatever reason, they love Gross Memorial Coliseum.
They do. They, I think, have been up to this point shooting the three-pointer like 25%, and they shot at 42% against us. They're all better than they've been playing the last basically since the season started. They're better than that, and they showed that on Saturday. I think we got their best shot from them, and there was just, I went back and I've watched the game 3 times now, and there was different things defensively that we just miscommunicated, and there was 4 3-pointers in the second half that were bad defense, where we just didn't communicate with each other, and we gave them a wide open shot, and they hit it.
Yeah, Brianna Budget, you really held her in check most of the day, but she had those 2 fourth-quarter threes, and those were backbreakers.
Yep, nope, they were, and it was just based on miscommunication. She was wide open just because we didn't talk. So I think it came down to that, really, defensively. Offensively, we did okay. I thought I wasn't super disappointed in how we played offensively, but there was 4 specific possessions where we gave up a really crucial 3 in that second half.
Talk more about that, but we're at the bottom of the hour. Need to squeeze in 10 seconds for station identification. You're listening to Tiger Talk on the Tiger Sports Network, built by PwC.
With a combination of Kaiser Liquor and Fort Hays State Athletics, you're sure to be into something good. Kaiser Liquor and 14 KEYS Hayes.
Gerard Walbrock back with you here from the Robins Center. It's Tiger Talk on this Wednesday. We're talking women's basketball with head coach Talia Kars. Good weekend. Tigers got a split, came back, got a win over Tabor on Monday night. We'll talk about that in a little bit. It seemed like this game kind of swung, the Missouri Western game, right before halftime. They get those final 4 points. You were up 11 and in control. It's amazing. Sometimes, the middle 8, the final 4 of the first half, first 4 of the second half, they kind of won that stretch, got them some momentum, and then they came out on fire in that third quarter and got you behind, and you're playing from behind a lot of the way. Yeah,
defensively we weren't as good late in the second quarter. Offensively, we took a couple early shots that I wasn't looking for. So that definitely that hurt us late in the second quarter, and then going into the third, we didn't execute super well, and then, like I said, gave up those easy shots late in the game.
It was a physical game. I mean, I think you commented, Olivia got fouled like 5 times every time she touched the ball. And there are teams that do that. They play physical, and I'm sure they know the officials aren't going to call everything. And so you have to battle through that. It seemed like your team handled that pretty well, but it was a physical game.
Yeah, that was something that one of my assistants did the scout on them, and she's like, they did not play like that up to this point. And I said, yeah, they like to be rough with Liv. And I did. I went and looked at every single one of her clips, honestly. And we get to do a review on their officials after every game. So I was very specific. And there's about 2 or 3 times every time we went up the floor on offense that Liv got hit. That she got hit, and it was probably a little extensive. And early in the first quarter, they called it almost every time. Mm-hmm. She got to the line, or she made her shot and didn't get fouled almost consistently in the first quarter. And then after that, like you said, they might have got tired of calling it, or for whatever reason. And she's got neck issues anyway, and you could see it. It was wearing on her, but I was so proud of her because she did not back down. She continued to battle. She continued to really work for the ball, and we just didn't get it to her as much as we should have.
10 points, 11 boards. She gets a double-double despite all of that and played well. And then Katie had, that was just phenomenal game. 28 points, 14 boards. That's a season high. 2 assists in the contest, and she's just playing so well right now. And I mean, she eventually fouled out late in that ball game, but boy, she just she battled and gave everything she had in that one.
Yeah, no, you never have to question Katie's effort ever, and that's something that I'm really thankful for as her coach. Is I always know that Katie's going to work really hard. Sometimes she's not going to make those shots, but her effort is going to make something happen eventually. Maybe it's for somebody else or whatever, and she just battles and battles and battles.
I know after the game you mentioned too your late game situation. You didn't hit the shot, but you go back to the regional final and had the ball in your hand trying to, and just it didn't go well. You look like you handled that better, and you got a good look. Just it didn't go for Megan.
Yeah, no, I thought overall we had the ball 3 different times on the sideline, and I thought we did a great job of executing those plays. And then defensively, at the other end, I thought we made it. I mean, the fact that Brooke could get a steal on 2 different people on the opposite end of the floor, I think that's huge. And she missed the layup, but I was so dang proud of her for guarding the 2 of them and still ended up with the ball. And so I thought we did a good job defensively too, just talking, communicating, figuring out, okay, what do we need? Who should we foul? And I thought we did all of that very well.
Well, Tigers lose that one. Had to come back with a makeup game on Monday, taking on the Tabor College Blue Jays, who are 9-2. We'll take a quick break. We'll talk about that, and we're going to preview the rest of the week. Fort Hays State getting back into conference play later this weekend. Sunday afternoon basketball down in Wichita. We'll do that when we come back. A reminder, the Tiger Talk is brought to you today by BTI. They're your John Deere dealer. Locations in Buckland, Great Bend, Greensburg, Hoxie, Ness City, and Pratt. BTI, our family in partnership with your family. More Tiger Talk next on the Tiger Sports Network, built by PwC.
The Golden Q is the place for football and food. Friday night, when your team is out of town, stop in for your favorite burger and watch the game, plus catch every NFL game with the NFL Sunday Ticket. Want to enjoy the game from home, but still eat the Golden Q's tasty food? Use their app to place an order to go or use DoorDash. Then when it's time to blow off some steam, head to the Fort, duck pin, bowling, axe throwing, VR, and check out their huge outdoor patio. Book a party room for your group or host a large gathering at the Fort. The Golden Q and the Fort in Hayes.
Salek gets it back right wing with 5 into the foul line, picks up her dribble, shoots a tough one in traffic, no good. Stearns the offensive rebound, and she put it in. Oh, what a play by Ellie. Her first basket of the game. It's a stick back, 28-20, Fort Hays State. That was some of the action from Saturday against Missouri Western. Welcome back to Tiger Talk. We're talking women's basketball with Coach Talia Cars. We'll preview the Newman game on Sunday. Real quick, we'll talk about Tabor. And we heard that highlight from Ellie Stearns. She's a player. I mean, last year she was a good shooter. And, I mean, freshmen are freshmen. They figure it out. But she's really figured it out. I think you're seeing the total player now. She had a huge game against Tabor and other areas than shooting the ball. It's been fun to watch. She gets stick back basket, rebounding better, steals, all those other things. Her game's really starting to evolve. Yeah, no, Ellie does a great job. She's strong and she's physical, and defensively she's not afraid to get up in somebody and is athletic enough to guard about anybody. And then on the boards, she's just somebody that's now consistently going. Mm-hmm. And when you're consistently going, you're going to get them. And she does a good job of finishing when she does get them. And but she's just been so consistent in going every single time. All right, let's talk about Tabor real quick before we preview Newman. Tough games, makeup games, I think, are always tough because you play them at a weird time. This was a Monday, first, finals week going on, so a lot of distractions. And maybe that first half felt that way, but boy, that second half, you guys, and Tabor came in 9-2. They're picked to win the KCAC. I'll be shocked if they don't. That's a good basketball team. In the second half, you guys are really, really good. Yeah, no, they're a really good team. He does a great job with them year in and year out, and they execute things really well, and they're all really good shooters. And that was another thing that we tried to focus on was the three-point line to get better at that, and I thought we did okay at that. And wanted to get young players in early and get them some minutes just to remind them that they're not that far off. Right. We have so much experience that I think for them it can get frustrating and get hard to see because they feel like they're okay, and we just have a lot of experience. And so for me, I really wanted to get them in early and help them realize they are college basketball players. They can do this, and just
remember that they've got really good people playing in front of them.
And I thought they did a good job, but it was maybe your oldest player who stands out. What a night for Clary. 17 points, 5 boards, couple of steals. Her Fort Hays State high, she had 19 in the game against with UCO, but good to see her have she's one of those, some games, some matchups, she doesn't play as much. Others she plays more, but she always gives great effort, great on the practice floor, and good to see her rewarded. She had a fun game. She played really well, and she was kind of the reason you're able to get that separation in that fourth quarter.
Yeah, she's a lot like Katie in the regard of you never have to question Clary's effort. Every single day, every day in practice, she's always working so hard, and sometimes it's just not what's best for us as a team, but I was really happy for her, and she was really excited, even though it was maybe not a Division II team. She was really excited to have a good game and was ready to play.
Yep, should be excited. She played well. All right, let's take a look at you got a couple of more games before you get a little bit of break for Christmas, but 2 conference games at Newman Sunday and at Central Oklahoma, 2 teams that have been struggling a little bit, so I guess that becomes a challenge. Back on the road, it's right before the break, and sometimes you start thinking about a little bit of time off and what you're going to do when you go back home, but you got to stay focused. These are games that count just as much as Northwest and Missouri Western and Emporia and everybody else.
Yep, nope. Newman's a little unique in that they run kind of a similar offense as Missouri Western, so we'll see if we can guard it a little better against Newman, and she's got a good group in, and she's young. She's got about 4 freshmen there playing quite a bit, and so we'll see a lot of new faces against them. And then UCO's got a lot of people back. She also has brought in a lot of transfers, and they've had a couple kids hurt off and on, and so they have been a little inconsistent in their lineups, but she's got a lot of talent.
So that should be 2 big ones. That'll be kind of a different schedule. It's on Sunday afternoon at 1:30, and then 5:30 game at UCO on Tuesday night, and that'll be a women's only contest, which we'll get into a little bit later. But Coach, appreciate it. Hope it's a good finals week for your gals the rest of the week, and we'll see you down in Wichita.
Thanks, Jordan.
There you go. Talia Cars, head coach of the Tigers, as they play at Newman Sunday at Central Oklahoma on Tuesday. Tiger Talk brought to you in part by the Hayesmed Orthopedic Institute, the most comprehensive orthopedic care in Western Kansas. Learn more at hayesmed.com/orthopedics. We'll take a break, talk men's basketball with Mark Johnson. He's up next here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by PwC.
Ready to discover something new? The next time you're in your car, tune your radio to 94.3 FM.
It's here. It's Hayes' greatest hits.
Love it.
On 1400 KAYS and 94.3 FM.
94.3 FM, KAYS. Go ahead, check us out.
Here's Hammocky, 6 on the shot clock. Caleb, left wing, tries to get free, guarded three-pointer. He put it in right in front of the bench, and the Tigers lead by 5. Caleb Hammocky with 11, 33-28. It's an 11-0 run by the Tigers, and their biggest lead of the night with 10:25 to go in the game. Yeah, that was a big basket Thursday as the Tigers knock off number 17 Northwest Missouri State 57-49, then backed it up with a 73-49 over number 22 Missouri Western, joined now by head coach Mark Johnson. Congratulations. Pretty big week last week. First time since 2010-2011 you've won back-to-back games against a ranked opponent, and first time at home since 97-98. Now, you don't always play ranked opponents in back-to-back games, so that's doesn't happen very often. But boy, you guys played really, really well. Really good defense against both teams, and that was a good week at home last week.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we needed to have success that weekend. You look at after tonight's game, 5 of our next 7 games are on the road, and they're all conference games, so we could not afford to lose any home games in conference this past week, and our guys did a great job. Look, we've played 4 MIAA games, and 3 of the 4 opponents have not got to 50, which I would think we're probably the only team in the country that can say that. I can't imagine there's another team in the country that's played 4 conference games and held 3 of them below 50. So give our guys a lot of credit. Really locked in, played hard. We knew the Northwest game. That game played out it seemed like about the last 5 or 6. times we've played them. I think the biggest difference, like I said after the game, we made some shots in the last 5 minutes that we just have missed in our previous opportunities. We've been right there in like the highlight of Caleb hitting the tough three, and then Elijah hit some big baskets, some mid-range shots. I think Sean and RJ are maybe, hit some shots late, and that was really the difference. We were able to make just enough shots in the last 5 minutes this time around than maybe the previous 4 or 5 times.
Doesn't hurt. They go 2 of 16 from 3, and I know they missed some wide open ones, but I thought you defended them well early, and kind of as you said, you probably had it in the back of their head, even when they were open, that there was some help coming, and it wasn't going to be an easy shot. I mean, they're a good. Wes Dreamer goes 0 of 8 from 3. I doubt he's been 0 for in his life at any level, but it was you set the tone defensively in that ball game.
Yeah, sometimes our guys, like I said, people come out and only watch Missouri Western play one time on our home floor or Northwest, and those guys don't seem to struggle to score against other people. Both those teams are averaging 75 points a game. And Wes Dreamer, I'm sure we caught him on a little bit of off night, but those guys are all aware, like, for that position, that's who B guards. B's probably the best defender in the league. And they get in a hurry because they're not open very often, and they know when they do get open, B's going to be right there awfully fast. So it kind of speeds them up just enough on their shots that they don't get comfortable and they end up missing. So I think that even Missouri Western, you look, our guys were just after them the whole time. In 40 minutes, you're going to break free every now and then. But when it doesn't happen very often, they break open, and then they kind of panic and try to rush their shot, and they end up missing some good looks. And that was kind of something we didn't do at Rogers. We let Rogers get comfortable in the first 5 minutes of the game, and now the basket's big, and they make shots. Our guys really did good all week. You're always concerned after the Northwest game how your players will respond. And for whatever reason, I thought we might even have more locked in and focused at the tip of the Missouri Western game than we even were for the Northwest game. So a lot of credit to our guys for being ready to play less than 48 hours after a big win.
R.J. Crawford, you mentioned him a little bit ago. He had a good week in the Northwest game. He scored 16, 3 of 5 from 3. He came back with 12 against Western, 2 of 4 from 3. Looks like he's finally feeling comfortable, and it looks kind of like the R.J. Crawford we've seen in highlights from when he played at Southwest Baptist.
Yeah, him and Sean really need to give us that offensive boost we didn't have last year, and I think this weekend they did. Sean had a nice week. I think he had averaged 11 points and 6.5 rebounds for the games. I think R.J. averaged about 13 or 14, and that's something we didn't have a year ago. And R.J.'s a good shooter. We don't quite honestly have a lot of those, so he really has a lot of pressure on him to make his shots, and he shot it well this week, and like I said, that's something we need out of him and Sean to be able to come in and give us a little boost. I think a guy that's really helped us too, Kyle Grill, just by staying big, the importance of size, especially this last weekend with the teams we played. We've been pushing Elijah down to the 3 and getting Jaheim in there, and that was going to be too small of a lineup to play this past week. So I thought Kyle really came in and just was active. Didn't score a lot, but did a lot of good things. Got his hands on some balls and things like that, and did a really good job. And I think his future is bright for us. And it was nice to see him get out there and get some good minutes and really respond well.
You mentioned Elijah. He had a good week, 13 points, 3 assists in the Northwest game, then 17 7 rebounds, 7 steals against Missouri Western. He had a good week, and I know he shows glimpses of it, but he did it in back-to-back games, and that was good to see because he's obviously a guy, when he can get to the rim and do those things, could be tough.
Yeah, he had the Western game might have been his best game he's had here. He had 17 points. I know he's probably had a few games where he scored more than that, but he had 7 rebounds, 7 steals, was just really active in every part of the game. And, his mid-range, he's really struggled with his mid-range this year, which is that's his game. It was nice this weekend. He felt like he was gaining some confidence in his 15 to 17 foot shots. The thing with Tim, he's probably an inch or two shorter than his style of play. If he was a legit 6'4", he would be unbelievable, but we list him at 6'3". He's probably 6'2.5". He gets a lot of stuff done just being physical and tough, and really that's the core of our 4 guys. Caleb, Elijah, B, and Trajan. We've had those guys for the last, and Gabe was a part of that group, but those 4 guys, a core of just toughness and winners, is something you can't replace, and it's nice when Elijah can bring the other part of it. When those 4 guys can make shots and play well offensively, that just takes us to another level, because you know they're going to be there as far as competing and high character guys, that winning is important.
You mentioned Sean Riley. What probably pleased you as much as anything, 8 rebounds against the Bearcats, 5 rebounds against Missouri Western. Looks like that part of his game, the defense, the rebounding, is getting a little bit better.
Yeah, Sean, like, so we need to get him in there. He needs to give us some help with some scoring, a little bit of boost. At times he can rebound because he's a little quicker and faster. Sean's just trying to figure out how, what level you have to play at with intensity and energy and toughness. He's a great athlete. He's the fastest guy on the court most days. If he would ever just let loose and play and had B's motor, he would be phenomenal. He's trying to get there. He's better today than he was, when in practice at the beginning of the year, and hopefully that's something that he keeps continuing to do, because his potential is really high. He just trying to figure out what motor he needs to be at, and I thought this past week he was pretty good with that and was really active.
Well, the Tigers back at home tonight. They wrap up the 3-game homestand non-conference with Bethel College, and then on the road on Sunday at Newman, and then they'll play New Year's Eve against Central Oklahoma as they close out first semester play. Tiger Talk today brought to you by Golden Belt Bank. Your life has a story. Golden Belt Bank would like to get to know that story. Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis. You can visit them at goldenbeltbank.com. We'll take a break. We'll preview tonight's game with the Threshers from North Newton when we return on the Tiger Sports Network, built by PwC.
That was another legend on 99 KZ Country. And yes, before that, we had a brand new artist. Your home for today's stars and the legends. We play real country. I'm Teresa Trapp. Weather, news, sports, it's all here. We're on Facebook, and there is a listen live link at hayespost.com. Dial us in on your radio at 99.5 FM. KHAZ, Real Country. 99 KZ Country.
Here's Thames, beautiful pass across the lane, but Saxon has his shot blocked by Riley. Taken away by Nanabu. He'll come up the floor, sidestep a defender and lay it in. Timeout Griffins. Oh my goodness, this defense is a blanket. They're not letting the Griffins sniff a shot. 23-7. Fort Hays State on a 10-0 run, and a timeout called by Western. Yeah, some of the action from Saturday. The Tigers win over Missouri Western. Welcome back to Tiger Talk. It's brought to you in part by the Taco Shop. Whether you order by phone, use their handy app, dine in, carry out, or delivery, you've never had it so good. Taco Shop, a part of Hayes since 1970. And Fort Hays State Athletics inviting you to join Tiger fans with a plan. If you're going to be drinking, always designate a sober driver. Talking basketball with Fort Hays State men's coach Mark Johnson. Tigers at home tonight, non-conference. In fact, final non-conference game. They take on the Threshers from Bethel College out of North Newton before heading to Newman to resume conference play Sunday afternoon against the Jets. Let's talk about Bethel College here a little bit. And these are, games during finals week are tough. I know you try to avoid them, but sometimes you have no choice. But they're right around 500, but yet they went into St. Joe, and they had Missouri Western down with 10 minutes to go. The Griffins put on a little run to finally win that game, but certainly a team that's very capable that you're going to face here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing a different level than Central Christian and Manhattan Christian. I mean, they can put 5'6", big, strong, athletic guys out there to compete. And you don't play well, you catch them on the wrong night. I mean, Brady Worth bailed us out how many years ago
yeah.
when we won in double overtime. So, I mean, if we play hard and compete and play well, we'll be fine. If you're, it's like Manhattan Christian. They made 7 threes in the first half. We're tied at halftime. Like I said, I mean, basketball, you catch people on the wrong night. You go to Rogers State, they make 11 their first 14. Obviously, you control a little bit of that. But sometimes, it's with the three-point shot and the mouth, like tonight, they're going to take 28 threes. And you catch them on a night, they make 13 or 14. It doesn't matter who you're playing. You give up 13 or 14 made threes, you're in for a battle. So hopefully we play well. And like I said, it's always tricky during finals week of with everything everybody has going on. Our group to date and really over the last few years, I feel like for the most part is pretty focused and ready to go. And hopefully that will continue tonight, and they'll be ready to play.
Yeah, hopefully so. And then you turn around and you go to Wichita. You'll take on Newman. That'll be your final game before breaking a little bit for Christmas. But a Jets team that on their home floor can always be a challenge.
Yeah, I mean, Stevie Strong last year led our league in scoring. So anytime you got a guy who can do that, they're a handful. They're big and you got some big guys and some athleticism. So always close games there at the end. And hopefully, again, we continue to come up on top there in some close games.
That sounds good. Hopefully a lot of Tiger fans there always seem to have a good gathering to watch the game. Coach, as always, appreciate the time. We'll see you a bit later tonight at the Coliseum.
All right, thanks, Gerard.
There you go, Mark Johnson, coach of the Tigers again. 7 o'clock tonight. We'll be on the air at 6:30 with the Auto World pregame show. If you can't make it out, we certainly hope you can enjoy us. That'll wrap up Tiger Talk. It's brought to you by the Hayes Med Orthopedic Institute, Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis, BTI, and the Taco Shop. We will have a show next Wednesday, our final one before Christmas, so we hope to see you out here and on the radio. Until tonight, Gerard Wellbrock saying so long. Voice of the Tigers, Gerard Wellbrock, inviting you to join us for Tiger Talk Wednesday afternoons at 12:10 on KAYS. The show is part of the weekly Tiger Club meetings live from the Robbins Center on the Fort Hays State campus and brought to you by Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis, the Hayes Med Orthopedic Institute, the Taco Shop, and BTI, your area John Deere dealer. That's Tiger Talk, live from Tiger Club Wednesdays at 12:10 on 94.3 FM and 1400 AM KAYS.